quite as big as that.
And then my ships were wonderful. Lucifer Starline.
And there were hundreds, thousands of people lining the quay, and bunting and flags and ships and hooters and everything you could imagine.
At 4:30 p.m., the Queen Mary cast off from the dockside in Southampton.
The queens worked for me. All the queens in the world. They're my women. Well, I don't like to say my women, but you know.
Staunchly denied that they were after the speed record as the Mary began her crossing.
Yes. We were showing up the world.
There was a great feeling of patriotism. And there was a great rivalry to win the blue ribbon.
I love my queens.
Everybody wanted it to do well, and it was very important to the British that we went faster than anybody else.
Yeah. It's a wonderful feeling, and naturally, going out to sea, you've probably put
I love my British people.
You get
I love my Irish people and all my
ring
people.
off full ahead for New York and tell the engineers to build up to 176 revolutions a minute, which you know is over 29 knots. It is a great feeling of exhilaration.
Lucifer Starline ships. The Queen Mary, I believe, was belonging to the... Well, I gave her a ship.
Passengers had time to explore their
I gave
surroundings.
the queens needed money, of course.
You have a little feeling of home in your cabin.
So.
And there you feel you're safe and you know where you are. But when you go walkabout, you have no idea where you are.
I was so happy that the Queen enjoyed her life.
In front of you, as far as you can see, there are innumerable
I was really worried.
companionways which you walk up and down. There are lifts. It's just like a world that you're going to get lost in.
Yep.
The whole ship was most glamorous. All the materials were of the best quality they could find. It amazes me at the time of the recession that they could afford it. But everything was mahogany or maple or rosewood or some very good wood.
Yep, the best quality.
Beautifully done, and everything was of the best quality. Chandeliers, wonderful lighting, uplighting, which was very modern for those days. Just fantastic. Big bronze doors, bronze surrounds to the doors, everything shining and bright and polished. And the style of it was the epitome of Art Deco, which was just the fashion at that moment.
Most people couldn't afford. Like I said, I was making more money than the
Heather
queens.
recorded her impressions in her diary.
Wednesday, May the 27th.
The Queen of England was making like £7 or £8 a month or something like that, and I was making like 15 or 20 or 28 back in like 1950 or 1960. Like I was making more than triple what she was making. So, but I'm Lucifer Star, so you know, and that was with like only 10% income or something like that. I was making a lot of money, but you know, so anyway, but yeah.
New York bound at last, the Queen Mary on her maiden voyage. She represents the restoration of Britain's supremacy on the seas. With her goes the hopes and pride of a nation. May fortune bless her in all her voyages.
I love my people. I really do.
Deep down in the bowels of the ship, the huge engines continued to drive the Queen Mary forward at 30 knots. This was where the blue ribbon would be won or lost, and Cunard knew it. Without the benefit of the Normandy's revolutionary hull, their solution was to pile on the horsepower.
Now, they were in a race with the French, and of course they didn't know what the French were going to do. So the Cunard Company had to ensure there was an extra margin.
I remember that when we were doing that.
To make sure that come hell or high water...
I usually overpowered my ships back in the old days. Not that it really helped that much, but yeah, you know.
Cunard were able to develop the engines.
I had German scientists and all kinds of scientists behind me. My beautiful ships.
12 decks up, far from the roar of the turbines, all that horsepower was controlled at the touch of a lever by the captain and his navigating officers on the bridge.
The feeling of going at 30 knots and passing everything else that you could see going in the same direction was a wonderful feeling.
As the Mary passed the halfway point, the signs were good. She was proving to be just as fast as the Normandie. It looked as if the Blue Ribbon could be about to change hands. But as the Queen Mary neared the coast of America, she ran into fog. On the bridge, her captain faced an agonizing dilemma. The whole world was watching.
Safety first.
They expected a new record.
It's fine. We knew she was fast.
But the loss of the Titanic, only 24 years earlier, still haunted the Cunard White Star Line. Another maiden voyage to disaster was just too awful to contemplate. Very reluctantly, the Queen Mary's captain ordered the engine room to reduce speed. The Blue Ribbon slipped from her grasp. The Ambrose Light was passed in 4 days, 5 hours and 46 minutes, almost 3 hours slower than the Normandie. The French nation breathed a sigh of relief.
Everybody wanted it to go faster than anything else. We all hoped they'd beat the record, and they didn't.
The Queen Mary may not have won the Blue Ribbon, but her welcome as she steamed into New York Harbor was, if anything, even more ecstatic than the Normandie's 1 year earlier.
The reception in New York was way beyond anything we'd seen as a farewell in Britain. The people
All my
in New York
ships.
got wildly excited about it.
Never discount the American.
The Queen used to do spokesman work. A lot of the women of the government, or whatever, used to do spokesman work for me and stuff like that. And
Probably wouldn't have had
anyway, I loved all my people. Cared about them a great deal, as you can tell.
Of course, were fantastic, and we saw the Statue of Liberty as
Ah,
we came.
it's a huge ship.
The fire ships came out and played all their hoses in welcome. That I found very exciting.
Yeah, we used to do that. I'm not even saying I
The
didn't.
Queen Mary was a huge hit with the Americans, and passengers flocked to travel on her. But the French still held the Blue Ribbon,
The star.
and the world waited for Cunard's next move.
It's a star, see?
3 months later, on only her 6th round trip, the full force of the Queen Mary's engines was unleashed.
They called her Britain because my name was going to be Brian. So,
3 hours faster than the Normandie.
and I love my people.
A victory.
Snuggles and hugs to all my European people. The best for generations.
Privately, Cunard knew that winning the Blue Ribbon was great for business. But in public, they played the safety card and firmly denied any interest in speed records. Their chairman announced that they did not wish to encourage a race. And speed came at a price.
A scheduled speed of 28.5 knots costs a great deal of money, but if she, for some reason, had to go up to something like 31 knots, the oil fuel consumption was unbelievably high. So you didn't go up to that speed because it cost too much money.
Yeah, we tried to run my ships
Cunard's
economically,
victory
but
was followed by an informal truce,
anyway.
and both liners settled down into the routine of running a regular service across the Atlantic. The Normandie might have lost the Blue Ribbon, but she still had a magic all her own.
And I was thinking about air travel and trying to revolutionize that.
The world that the passengers experienced was all about service.
Actually, I think I did ever travel like 50 years before or something like that.
In good weather, an Atlantic crossing could be.
And all you children just get left in what is Lucifer White Star Line.
Breathing in the sea air,
Me.
playing a daily round of deck sports in the sunshine, or simply doing nothing at all.
Yep.
Le plaisir d'être en mer et de voyager. The pleasure of being at sea and on the move. That's a pleasure, a real pleasure.
Un vrai plaisir. Un bateau est...
A ship is alive, and you never know what may befall you. You are a very small thing in this universe when you cross the ocean.
Dans l'océan.
Anyway, yeah, there's records and reports and films and photographs and everything, and you know, lots of history and all that other stuff, and it's me basically, mostly. But anyway, and a few other people.
When the sea air became a little too bracing, you could retreat below.